I discovered a horrifying secret under a Japanese convenience store. I'd always thought Japan would be the adventure of a lifetime. The allure of a new culture, different food, and an entirely different way of living was too much to resist. My job as an English teacher in a small town just outside Tokyo was perfect, giving me a chance to experience Japan in a way most tourists never could. One of the first places I discovered was the little convenience store down the street from my apartment. It wasn't a flashy 7-Eleven or a Lawson's, but a small, family-run place that had a quaint charm about it. The sign above the door read, Kobayashi Mart, in fading red letters. Every morning I'd stop by for a coffee and a rice ball before heading to work. The first few months were blissful. I quickly fell into a routine and started recognizing the employees at Kobayashi Mart. There was Yuki, the shy girl who always smiled and bowed deeply whenever I entered. Then there was Kenji, a friendly college student who enjoyed practicing his English with me. But then, something strange happened. Yuki disappeared. I asked Kenji about her and he shrugged, saying she had probably gone back to her hometown. New faces replaced hers behind the counter, but they never lasted long. At first I didn't think much of it. Turnover is normal in convenience stores, right? One evening after a particularly grueling day at work, I went to Kobayashi Mart for some comfort food. A young man I'd never seen before was at the register. He looked terrified, glancing nervously at the trapdoor behind the counter that I had never noticed before. It struck me as odd, but I brushed it off as the jitters of a new job. I continued my nightly visits and the pattern became impossible to ignore. Every few weeks a new face appeared, looking more frightened than the last. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. One rainy night, curiosity got the better of me. The store was empty, save for the new girl at the register, who looked as though she might burst into tears at any moment. I pretended to browse the shelves, keeping an eye on her. After a few minutes, she opened the trap door and descended the stairs, leaving the store unattended. Heart-pounding, I crept behind the counter and peered down the dark stairway. A faint foul odor wafted up and I felt a chill run down my spine. Ignoring every instinct to turn back, I carefully made my way down the steps, my footsteps muffled by the sound of the rain outside. The basement was dimly lit, and I could hear the girl sobbing quietly. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw her standing before a massive iron door, her back to me. The door creaked open, revealing a cavernous space beyond. She stepped inside and I followed, staying as silent as possible. What I saw next will haunt me forever. In the center of the room was a grotesque creature, its enormous bloated body covered in glistening scales. Rows of sharp teeth lined its gaping maw, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent intelligence. The girl stood frozen, paralyzed with fear. Before I could react, the creature lunged forward and the girl's scream was cut short. I stumbled backward, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I turned and fled up the stairs, my mind racing with terror. I didn't stop until I was safely back in my apartment, locking the door behind me. My hands trembled as I tried to process what I had just witnessed. Kobayashi Mart was a front, a facade hiding something monstrous beneath the surface. The next day I called in sick to work, my mind consumed by the horror of the previous night. I had to do something, but what? Who would believe me? The police? The locals? Everyone seemed oblivious to the sinister truth lurking beneath their feet. Days turned into weeks, and the nightmares plagued my sleep. I avoided Kobayashi Mart, opting for a longer walk to the nearest 7-Eleven instead. But the guilt gnawed at me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had to do something to stop this. Finally, I mustered the courage to return. The store looked the same as ever, but I knew better. Another new employee greeted me, her eyes wide with fear. I needed proof, something to show the authorities. As I browsed the shelves, I discreetly took out my phone and began recording. The trapdoor opened and she descended the stairs. I followed, keeping a safe distance. This time I was ready. I captured every detail. The iron door, the cavernous room, the monstrous creature. I fled once more, but this time I had evidence. I took it to the police, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and hope. They were skeptical at first, but the video spoke for itself. A raid was organized and Kobayashi Mart was shut down.